Hey, Bible lovers, welcome to the fourth session of my interview with the Cromwell Leather Group and their president, Thomas Fleisch. And today he tells us why he feels that cowhide, and more specifically Cromwell Cowhide, is better than goatskin, exotics, and especially pigskin, and all other types of leathers. Check it out. It is really interesting.
Why is it better than pigskin, sheepskin, and even goatskin? Let me just digress for a minute and thank you, Tim, for the service that you provide, because people get educated, and that's very important. They're interested, they're making a purchase that's important to them. They could be spending a lot of money on this. It's making an investment, and they have the right to know these details, and there are not many sources for that. So you're a good questioner, you're a curious person, and you're taking that curiosity and sharing those answers with the Bible community, and you're providing a terrific service there, and we're honored to be a part of it.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay, so why cowhide? Sheepskin is not very strong because it's made for wool, and it has to have a lot of grease and fat in the skin, bred for that, to make wool, and it just doesn't endure. It will scratch easily, and it's not strong. Pigskin is strong, but it has a very distinct grain pattern in itself, so you have to put a very heavy coating on it to cover that. We used to make pigskin, but we decided not to anymore because we think cowhide is the ultimate best product. So why not goatskin? Goatskin has a wonderful long history in Bibles, and in some ways goatskin is very good historically. Cowhide 100 years ago, 200 years ago, was very thick, and they didn't have the more modern methods of splitting and shaving. So you wanted to use thinner animals like goat to make a book or a Bible. It was better at that time. But technology evolves, and today cowhide can be made beautifully at a uniform thickness that's appropriate for a book, and will endure for hundreds of years. So why would I say it's not only as good, but better than goatskin? And I'll tell you the reason. Goatskin has a few problems. Goat is usually not raised in modern farming methods. There are some people who make goat for cheeses and so forth, but the majority of goatskin comes from less developed countries which do not have modern methods of care and treatment. Not a fault of their own, but they haven't reached that level, especially in tanning and preservation. And they, unfortunately, still use some methods that are not as safe as they should be. Chemistry that they use, not only for the workers there, but in the product itself. And I would say that this unregulated nature of it doesn't give us the confidence that it would pass kinds of tests that we're talking about at the University of Cincinnati laboratory on a consistent basis. Because those that use goatskin might buy it today from Nigeria, tomorrow from Pakistan, day after tomorrow from Bangladesh, because it's not available. It's not produced in a farm-like way. It might come from this village, then it doesn't come from that one. And there's people who collect them and then preserve them using different techniques, different tanneries, which don't have to have the compliance of Europe and the United States, will then be processing it, say in Bangladesh, someplace like that. And they just have not evolved to their standards of regulation and pollution and sustainability to where we are and where, frankly, my view is we should be. It's a problem. And so it's going through that supply chain that is not sufficiently controlled. And so you get greater variability, you get available from time to time here and there, then you make sacrifices because you can't get this one, you make that one. And then in the product itself, you don't have the confidence that it has the characteristics to pass the tests, especially California Proposition 65. So that's why it's a disadvantage in my view.
Well, that's interesting because I've actually noticed, as a person who has several goatskin Bibles, within the same publisher, you will have wildly different variations. You don't know what to expect. And, a lot of times it's good, but sometimes it's more stiff. Sometimes it's more dull. Sometimes it's more shiny. So it's hard to get that consistency. And I will confess, I have not noticed that with cowhide. All the cowhide seems very consistent and very predictable, and you know what you're going to get. So that's real nice.
That's right. And I would say that that's what we do in our cowhide, and perhaps that's the one you're seeing. If you were to source cowhide from a tropical country origin, it would be problematic. Lots of scratches and tick bites, and some of those less developed countries also don't have the controls. So you might have a unusual smell that's not agreeable.
Right.
And so it could happen on cowhide if it's not the right sourcing. But I think the variability that you're describing is even greater in the goatskin, but it can be in the cowhide. So you need to know the whole chain. You need to have a supplier that's taking ownership and responsibility for controlling the whole thing. You get this consistency. You open the box, it looks great, it feels great, and it smells great.
The leather that you deal with is less than 1% of the leather that is used on various products. And then you have the Bible industry, which is even a smaller piece of that pie.
That's right.
This is a very small interest group. And to be able to serve them, regardless of how large or small, just to give them the information is pretty awesome.
Great. You characterized it correctly. Again, thanks for the work you're doing.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that fascinating segment where Thomas kind of breaks down his opinion on why cowhide, and especially Cromwell cowhide, is superior to other leathers, to include some of our favorites, goatskin and beyond. Now, tomorrow is going to be a very interesting segment where we talk about the ethics behind harvesting certain hides and the ethics that are behind that, and the legalities and the different hoops that you have to jump through, and how Cromwell addresses those issues. So make sure you check it out. God bless you. Keep calm. Jesus on.